Hi drummers, hope you're well. Quick talk through for you here of Sweet Emotion by Aerosmith, Trinity Rock and Pop Drums, Grade 3. This is a funny little tune really. I think of all the Aerosmith songs, it's not really the first one that springs to mind. So I think of Love in an Elevator, Walk This Way of course with Run DMC, and Dude Looks Like a Lady, like loads of these great tunes. This wasn't one I was super aware of, but I think it's a great song. It's also got some really cool stuff in it. We always say it, and it's always true. Doing these grades is so much more about skill building and giving yourself a set of skills that you can then go off and use to be a musician, to either create your own music or play whatever music you want. And this is a great example. It's got some cool stuff in it, a syncopated groove, an open close hi-hat part, some interesting drum fills, some cool like music theory knowledge with the repeats and the Coda and the DC, Coda, all that business. It's got a nice change to 16th note feel. It's got an unusual time signature shift. It ticks a lot of boxes in terms of like cool skills that will help you just play stuff that you'll see once you're out there being a musician. Let's do it from the top. First groove. So nice straightforward groove here. Kick, snare, kick, snare, kick, kick, snare, kick, snare, kick, kick. Straight eighths feel, so the hi-hat just hammering out the eighth notes. You've got a quarter note kick on beat 1, quarter note snare on beat 2, eighth note rest on 3, come in with an eighth note on and on the kick, hit the snare, and then another eighth note for the kick at the end and of beat 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's in the intro. When you get to the verse, it's the same groove with an open close hi-hat, which opens on the and of 3 and closes on 4, opens on the and of 4 and closes on 1. Sounds like this. Now for a lot of the guys and girls who come for these sessions, starting grade 3, that's one of the trickier grooves. And I think this is definitely in that category of, if you're just starting out with this, I mean, by all means give it a go. But if you're finding it tricky, you don't have to play all the stuff at once. You can just add it a bit at a time. Now assuming that you can play the kick and the snare part, as in the intro, assuming you can go... What I'd really recommend doing is playing just one of the open hi-hats for a bit. And I would suggest doing the one at the end of the bar on the and of beat 4. You might even need to go down to that level of just saying the notes out loud. So the last note of the bar is the open hi-hat with kick, and the first note of the bar is the closed hi-hat and the kick. So, and 1 at the end of each bar and the start of the next one. Maybe after that you could do... That's 4 and 1. And what this is all about is, and drummers, in my experience, doing these sessions here, like do this all the time, and I totally did this when I was younger, all over the place, is they are so keen to play the part, they miss out the bit where they actually learn it. So just break it down, show your hands and your feet and your brain, one thing after the other. Plant the seed of what will then grow into the groove. And often I find, certainly my experience of these sessions here, is a drummer who does that and goes super slow with the groove first, by the next week, they've kind of got that going, and then you might add in the next hi-hat. In 2 weeks, say, you might have this groove already firing. Whereas a drummer who just tries to play it all at once and says, well, this is hard, and sort of gives up, will either take ages to learn it or will never learn it if they give up. So bit by bit, man, go slow. Like, haste is your enemy at this point, I always think. So, man, such an important point. So just like this. So just the open hi-hat on the and of beat 4, and I often say to guys here, just have a week, if this is the first lesson we do on this tune, have a week just playing the tune just with that one open hi-hat in, really get to know it, get that to be automatic, and then you can kind of stand on the shoulder of the giant that is that and do the other hi-hat later. So that will be, once you finally got it, even then, if you need to go one note at a time and say them out loud, open hi-hat with kick, closed hi-hat with snare, open hi-hat with kick, closed hi-hat with kick, that's fine. Let your hands and your feet see it. It's only difficult if you go too fast, too soon, man. And this is where patience comes in, man. It boils down to, I think at this level, at grade 3 with groups like this, it boils down to, do you actually want to learn this or not? Because if you do, you'll just break it down and go slow, and it will happen, man. Perseverance is just, genius is just perseverance in disguise. Right, here we go. Drum fill, bar 16. So 1 and 2 and, nice bit of groove, and then 3E, 4E and, 3E, underneath where it says vary, fill and repeats, semi-quaver, quaver, semi-quaver, 16th, 8th, 16th, beat 4, 4E and, 2 16ths and an 8th, bar 16, again. Now riff number 1. So this is a really fun little section. You've got the crash on the first beat of every bar. The rest of the time the snare drum is playing 2, 3 and 4. The kick is punctuating in between 3 and 4. So on the and of 3 and the and of 4. So we've got on the first time bar, it goes again. That's the bit with the 1 over it. Crash on beat 1, quarter note. 16ths on beat 2 on the snare. 3 that dotted 8th and 16th figure. That's the first and the last of 4 16ths. 3E and and then you've got, which is crash and kick together. The there is tied to the note on beat 4, so we don't play that effectively. We let the and, the even, ring out through that. The last note we do actually play is the kick on its own on the and of beat 4. Second half of this bar goes. Whole bar goes. Again. And then we go all the way back to the verse. So we've got repeat marks there under the bit with after the bit with the 1 over the top, all the way back to the verse. The bit where it says vary, fill on repeats, vary the fill, do something different. And then we take the second time bar this time, which goes. So guess what? It's exactly the same as it was the first time. And then DC Al Coda, da, is it da or dal? I forget. Dal Capo, I think. From the start, from the head, I always remember this like cap, as in a cap you wear on your head. Capo, go to the start. Is it capo or capo? The point is, it means you go back to the start. DC, go back to the beginning. Al Coda, until you see the word coda. So after the second time bar, all the way back to the start of the tune, play through it all until you see to coda, which is bar 19, end of. Then you jump to 21, which goes like this. So often we find drummers a little bit confused about this. That's 1, 2E. So crotchet on beat 1, quarter note, and then 2, a 16th, and then a dotted 8th. You're then going to rest for 3, 4, and all the way through the next bar, bar 22, 1, 2, 3, 4. You're then going to play the 2-4 bar, which is 16ths all the way, 1E ander, 2E ander. Here comes the whole of the first line, second page. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And then we're into our 16th note groove. So this is 16th notes, right, left, all the way. On beat 4, you're going to come to the snare drum, play ba-ba-ba-ba, maintaining that 16th note pulse. Always a crash on the first beat of the bar, loads of repeats of that. The guitar solo is the same, and it goes around twice. The last 2 bars of main groove, 32 and 33 where it says time, basically keep going in the same vein. You can change it up a little bit, but the diagonal slashes mean continue similar, play something cool. Time as in play time, play a groove, as opposed to, you know, play a drum solo. Big crash, fill around the kit. One of those, have a load of fun with it. The dot with an arcing line over the top under the word fill is a fermata. It means a hold, it extends the note, so you can have a load of fun. Play around the kit, do your big rock and roll finish, and then a crash on beat 1. The crash is just drum, so we don't have to sync it with anything on the track or anything like that. Big crash at the end. Hope that's all cool. That's Sweet Emotion by Aerosmith. Bit of fun for grade 3. Hope these videos are proving useful. They seem like they are. Let us know. And any questions, give us a shout. I'll see you soon. Thanks a lot.